Hello, everybody. How are you, Seth? Can you hear me well? Can we hear each
I hear
other?
you perfectly. Back in the
Yes.
spaceship. Great to see you,
All
brother.
right. Back in the spaceship, everybody. We are happy to be here. We are very happy to be here. I'm not sure why when you when you look at everything that's happening in the world, but why are we happy, Seth? I don't know. How would you define our happy
Did I
intro
did
to
I
this
uh
show?
did I do the anecdote about the guy who brought his sick son to the doctor? Did I do that last week? As I just thought of it, I was wondering
Go ahead. Which one is that?
this guy, his son is sick and he brings the kid to the doctor and the doctor tries to heal him and he can't. You don't know this one? So then
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
okay,
all
so
in.
the guy's friend says, "Well, there's a very very famous professor, and you can go to him, and he can help you, but he's very very expensive." So they go. The father takes his son to the professor. And he has to pay him a lot of money. He pays him a lot of money, and the
Okay.
professor gives him he diagnoses the kid, and the dad is looking there like, "I just paid you a ton of money. All you did was told me how sick my kid was." So he goes to his friend. He's like, "What is this?" He goes, I just paid this guy a ton of money, and all he did was said my kid was sicker than the doctor said he was. Yeah, but he goes, now you know what's the problem. Now just go to the store and get exactly the medicine. You already know what the problem is. So that's why we're happy. We're happy because we already understand what's
Ah.
going on here. And now that we already
Hmm.
understand what's going on,
Hmm.
now we're ready to
Okay.
buckle up. And
So
you didn't
the
like, I can tell that you like 30% liked my story and
no, no,
most
no.
70%
It
didn't
took
like
me
my
a
story.
while to understand. Einstein once said creativity is how well you hide your sources, and you hid them very well. But it took me a while. But I understand where
Okay,
you
I'll
took
try
it
better
from.
next time. But anyway, thank you for indulging me.
But yeah, no,
Um,
I agree. We are happy because what's happening in today's world is that we are becoming revealed. What's becoming revealed is what is our true problem. It's gradually surfacing, it's rising to the surface. And this is the time to say, if you're watching this for the first time, welcome to the Great Transition. If you're here live for the first time, even better, welcome to the Great Transition. Tell us where you're watching from. I see that we already have a bunch of people from North Carolina. I think I saw also South Carolina. I see Kiko from Brazil, from Egypt. I'm
no,
sorry. I
Egypt.
see Pam from Brazil. I see a lot of the usual suspects. Puerto Rico is here in the house. Aloha from Florida. We got that from Francine. Yeah, Utah's in the house. That's Quebec
Fujiko in
as
Minnesota.
expected. Yes, yes. Yeah, and a bunch of other places. I'm also Nairobi, Kenya. Oh, that's so great. Hey, Sheila.
All
So,
right.
yes, if you are here for the first time, watching the recording for the first time, welcome to the Great Transition. This is what we're doing here. We're trying to see, is there a reason to be happy with everything that's happening in the world? And not just happy because, oh, we feel good for a second, but is there a big reason to be happy? Meaning, is everything that's happening in the world right now going somewhere that might actually be better than what it used to be? And we believe it is. In fact, we know it is because if you look at the laws of nature, nature's not dumb. Nature knows where it's going. It's know where it's pushing all of its elements. It's going to a higher, more advanced state. That's what we're here to explore. That's what the Great Transition is all about. We do that rising above all our differences, whatever they are, politics, religion, culture, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, you are welcome. So, um, so welcome, welcome everybody. Seth, we got to do some COVID news. We gotta, it's kind of like it's kind of our mandate, don't you think?
Yes. So the UK uh, rolled out the vaccine,
Right.
and then I think after that there was a new strain that they discovered right after that, and then you guys, the interesting thing, not interesting, but the fun
We're in
thing.
lockdown. We're in lockdown right now. Like
Uh,
4 hours ago, officially entered the third lockdown. Israel is
wow.
under lockdown. Yeah, and
The
it's a
good
big
thing
one.
about lockdown,
Yeah,
if you have food and heat,
yeah.
is that you have time.
You just reminded
Exercise
me.
a little bit.
There's a
If you
good
want to
there,
walk a little bit, you
bro.
can play an
There
instrument.
there's a good Louis C.K. bit where he goes, oh man, I don't remember the whole setup, but he goes like about his daughters, like how he doesn't want bad things to happen to his daughters or something like that, and he goes like, just stay in the house, just eat the food. When you feel pressure, go to the bathroom, and that's it. I got enough money to have us to keep us like that for a couple years at least. Just do that. We're good, you know. So
Exactly.
it's kind of
Exactly.
like the bunker mentality is on
So the
display.
US has 50 states. Some of them have bigger economies than countries. The interesting thing about your little country over there is that you can really get something done. I
Mm.
mean, you guys are not having a good luck getting an election done. I think you're heading
Well,
into
yeah, I
fourth
was just
election
about to
years.
say
But
get
in
something done,
but in general,
except keeping a
accept an
government for
election.
more than 9 months, dude. This is the fourth election we're going into in the last 2 years. It's insane. Fourth election, 2 years.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
we don't understand that because it's totally different system here, but we'll see. But what's unique is that in the United States, and I know that it's a multicultural country, so to speak, but in general, um, there's like a country has um, it's small. First of all, it's just very
Yes,
small. So when
yes,
you want to roll something out, you can roll something out. In the United States, if you want to roll something out, you got basically 50 Israels. You know, each state has its own government, and some
right.
are more liberal, some are more conservative, some are more farmers, some are more entrepreneurs. And so it's very difficult to do something. So in your country, I guess it's very easier to come in
I
and roll out.
I don't
Well,
know,
you
man. I agree with you on the scale, the proportions, sure, but it's very different from those European countries who have a similar amount of population, but they're all like very similar, homogenous kind of populations.
like a
Israel
Sweden or
is,
something.
yeah, exactly, like any kind of Scandinavian countries, like a Norway or a that kind of thing. Israel is very different, even though that there are less than 10 million people here. The amount of feuds and conflicts and factions
Yeah,
and
Moroccan,
it's
Iraqi,
it
Russian, Polish,
it's crazy.
Lithuanian. Yeah, crazy. A lot of people
So
from all over.
so theoretically, you can get things done, like you say, with
We'll talk about COVID, just
but
COVID, for
yeah,
example. You
right,
can lock down your whole country. You can do
more
that.
easily than you
Or you
can.
can
Yeah,
roll
of
out,
course,
yeah, you can
with
roll out
yeah.
a vaccine because in America, in the United States, for example, there's signs on the highway. It's like if you traveled from New York, call this number about how long you need to lock down.
Hmm.
The guy is just like, he's like, yeah, right, sure, I'm going to do that. People are just driving. You can drive between states here. It's not like crossing a
Mm-hmm.
country's border. You don't even know you're going between one state and the next, and different states have different rules. So
Yeah,
um,
it's a different structure, no doubt.
different structure. So what's going on with this? Speaking of COVID,
Okay.
what's going on
Yeah.
with the vaccine in your country?
So okay. So the vaccine is rolling out. People are starting to take it. It's go at first. The more elderly people are like the first ones to kind of take it. They and I think the first responders, those in the front lines of medical care and all that. But check this out, man. I mean, is it doesn't nature have a sense of humor or something like that? I mean, take a look at this. This is basically, um, actually, no, that's not what I wanted to show you. It was something else. But I read an article. I'll find it. I read an article about the new variants, the new strains of COVID that are coming
Yeah.
out. Did you see some of what's happening with that?
I
It's
heard that there is as soon as they came out with the vaccine in the UK, that right away there was another variant of it. Does that mean that the vaccine doesn't work on that new variant?
Okay, so what I read is this. First of all, sorry, I can't find the article right now. Maybe Chris can find it for us. But anyway, there's two variants. Yes, one in the UK, one in South Africa. The one in the UK is 70% more transmissible, so more infectious, so to speak, right?
Mm.
Than the previous COVID. the old, the good old COVID we all love and know, right? So the new UK version is 70% more, and the South African version, which is the newer one, is even more transmissible than that. Do the vaccines actually take care of these more transmissible variants of COVID? We don't know. We don't know. I looked if someone is saying conclusively, the guy from BioNTech, the company that did the vaccine together with Pfizer, the Pfizer vaccine, he says, actually, I have the article here. What he says is interesting. He says, first of all, COVID-19 is here to stay for the next 10 years. And again, this is the guy who came up with the first virus. BioNTech is the company that did that created the first vaccine together with Pfizer. And he says, look, we need a new definition of normal, because what we thought of as normal is not what's going to happen. Now he says here, I'm going to just tell you, he says here, basically we can't say for sure that the vaccine deals with the new strands of COVID. I think they are. I'm paraphrasing, right? But basically, he says, I think they are. They should be. But what's good about our technology, the mRNA technology, the messenger RNA technology, is that we can quickly adapt the vaccine. And within 6 weeks, more or less, we theoretically are able to create a new vaccine for the new strain if need
Just
be.
imagine there'd be
So
like 500 strains, and they're like,
just
"Come
forget
on, guys."
500, even just 5. You understand what's happening here? We're going into playing catch with nature. We're going into playing catch. This is becoming something very, very weird. I actually, I appreciate the fact that I think it's more interesting if you think about it, what's happening as a film. It's a lot more creative, and it's
It's like the
right
end of a
for this.
Netflix show where you think it's about to resolve,
Yeah,
and then like something
exactly.
happens. It's just
Yeah,
like,
and it's right for the script. Like if I was the script writer, I would say, yeah, don't make it like clearly a virus that they can't deal with. Make it one that they kind of can deal with, but they have to now create a new one and a new one, and then there's another strain. And now they're saying, I read somewhere that they're not sure, but it's possible that this one, unfortunately, it may hurt kids, which the good old COVID wasn't so dangerous for
remember
kids.
2020 when we had the
20,
nice COVID? We were
it was
friendly with it. We understood how she worked and how we needed to react. And now this
exactly
new COVID, he's just very disrespectful, mostly.
disrespectful.
He
Is
doesn't
okay?
he doesn't
What is
abide
he?
by
Yeah, go ahead. Doesn't abide by
Well,
what
no,
is
I
he?
mean, we already established, our relationship, and then new COVID comes, and all of a sudden he just wants to change things, and it's just
It
not. He
he's
doesn't really
this
play by the rules that we established.
that we
He's not.
establish. Yeah, COVID is being disrespectful of our plans. Is basically what's happening, right? That's kind of
Let,
like the
let me throw something out there on the
yeah.
table that which I have no idea how it relates to this, but I just want to put it out there. Um, California, which has like one of the largest economies in the world, GDPs in the world, like larger than some countries,
Yeah.
is very much like shut down, lockdown, like stores, restaurants, all that kind of stuff. Okay, and their cases are rising, 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 rising.
California. Okay.
California,
Mm-hmm.
but Florida, a friend of mine lives there, keeps sending me pictures, and they're like at restaurants, they're like going out, and
And
the
the
cases
numbers.
there aren't going up
Mm.
as fast. So there's like, okay, Leon
Yeah.
says I can confirm
Yeah.
California is really bad. So I don't know, what is, and by the way, like China only had 4,000 deaths from COVID. No, we know that's a
Allegedly.
joke.
I
No,
mean,
we
yeah.
know
Okay.
that's, of course, it's a joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the point is everything is such a mess, huh?
Such a mess. Such a mess.
Such a
Yes.
mess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's messy, and it's. again, I'm let's take a look at the script, right? Like the nature script here. It's very very it's very interesting. The I won't be able to find the Chris, see if you can pull up the an article with Professor Nicholas Christakis. He was interviewed as well, and he says, "Look, can't don't even think about going back to some post-pandemic life before 2024. Just search like Christakis COVID 2024 or something like that. Anyway, he says he gave just recently. You familiar with him? Should I say a word? Who that guy is?
No, tell me who he is.
Okay, so Nicholas Christakis is one of the
He's a good role
very
model for people whose hair's turning white. But besides that, I
right.
don't.
Yeah.
Besides that,
He is a doctor, but also a sociologist. He was actually was kind enough. I had an email exchange with him years ago where he gave me permission to use an interview with him in my film, and he's also responsible for one of the huge breakthroughs in social network analysis, which is not about social media, but just about how human beings are connected. So he and his associate James Fowler went deep into that, and they analyzed some data set that they had from some 30 years. Where like 12,000 individuals or something like that were tracked for 30 years. They found, in short, that human beings are so connected that it's just an unseen network, that everything you do, feel, think, whether from taking up smoking or losing weight or becoming happier or becoming
I remember
depressed,
this study.
or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
frequency at which you have
If your
sex.
friends are smokers, it's way more likely you're going to be a smoker. If your
There,
friends are happy, it's way more
yeah,
likely that you're going to be happy. Yeah, I remember
everything
this study now.
basically, they even visualized it, which is beautiful. They show like how
You
everything
showed
that's
it in the movie,
happening,
right?
it's in the movie. Yes, it's in
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Crossroads. So everything in humanity happens in groups, right? Even when you think you're deciding something in life, there's actually a cluster of people around you that are moving in the same direction to one extent or another, and it's mathematically proven. So that's a beautiful thing that he did. But he's also a doctor, just a physician, and he understands how viruses works and how vaccines work and all that. And he basically says, in an exclusive interview they did with him for a publication here in Israel, by the way, he talks about how, look, before 2024, don't even think about, it's gonna take time. There's gonna be ups and downs. We're just at the end of the beginning, is what he says. We're still in the first act and maybe coming close to the end of the first act. But then the interviewer asked him an interesting question. I want to throw this at you. Tell me what you think. He asks him something like, at the beginning of COVID, at the very beginning, go back to Italy, people on the porches playing music to each other,
It was so
Spain.
fun.
Exactly. So the interviewer kind of brings that back up, and he says there was this fantasy that people after that people now with COVID will kind of start thinking about how they treat each other, how they treat nature, that maybe we can shape our lives differently. And he said, as much as I love human beings and I do, I don't think that people are going to change. It's gonna be We're gonna suffer from this pandemic. There probably until 2024, if nothing other else happens, and and but probably people are just gonna go back to turn back to their folly, so to speak. So, what do you think? Is he right, or is he right, or is he wrong? And
This is
what?
exactly what comes to mind when I hear about the colonization of Mars. Like it's like the same. Everyone's gonna get there, and they're gonna be like, "Wow, yeah, cool." And then after like a few minutes, you're just gonna be killing each other. Like these ones are gonna want to kill those
Mm,
ones, and they're just gonna recreate the same mess. After that initial excitement wears off, it doesn't matter which planet we take these corrupted people to. Doesn't matter how far away the planet is or how cool it is on the ride there. Once you
mm-hmm.
get there, it's the same people.
So
And the
you want to segue to Musk, which to Elon Musk and Mars, which we wanted to talk about as well. But I'm fine with that. Go ahead. So it just
no,
means
we
we'll
don't have
have
we
to
don't
go
have to
back.
go there. We don't have to go there yet, but it's the
Okay.
same. It's the same concept. If we
Why?
don't
Why is it the same
change,
concept?
because all you remember those 10 plagues from that story we learned as a kid? The whole gig is nature is just trying to get us to grow up. Nature's
Mm.
pushing us to get us to grow up. And if it doesn't work with this, it'll give us a little bit of that. So and nature's being very, forget whether or not the vaccine is crap, whether it's real, whether they tested it, they didn't test. Forget um, whether some guy was obese and he died and they ruled it from COVID, or someone died from something else and they're saying it's good. Forget all of the lies and everything. Okay, we know that everything is full of lies, right? Our media is full of lies. Our politicians are full of lies. Our entertainment is full of lies.
Yep.
Forget all
I
of
agree
that
with
for a
that.
minute.
I
Just
agree with that, and I
put it
think
on
more
the
and more. I think more and more people agree with you as well. Like,
okay.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
in order to get to a place where we can have a good life together. Okay. First of
Yeah.
all, living to 200 or living to 300. Kiko sent a story this week about some bacteria that was found below, in the ice somewhere in Siberia or something like that. Some guy, and the long story short, apparently it's some millions and millions of year old bacteria. It makes you live for hundreds of years or whatever. I don't know. Who
Well, they
cares?
okay.
I'm saying you're going to live for hundreds of years, or you're going to
Hmm.
find another planet, or you're going to do anything. What are you going to just be depressed for a couple more hundred years than you are now? What are you
Hmm.
going to be in more debt for more hundred years? Or you're going to be a Bitcoin gazillionaire for another couple hundred years? Like, or you're gonna do something on another planet. The whole gig, the whole premise that nature's playing with us now is to get us to change. And really, nature's been as wacky as this year has been. Nature's been pretty chill,
Lenient, lenient.
lenient with us. I
Yeah.
mean, think of what European cities looked like after World
Hmm.
War II. Think of
Right.
what Bosnia looked like
Right.
after Slobodan, or one of these African villages where people come through with machetes and just chop the whole village up. I mean,
Hmm.
this is something that affected the entire world without like, macheting people up, without like bombing cities. It's terrible that people are dying. Uh, but
But if you compare that to what, yeah, to
if you
other
take away all of the deaths that would
scenarios,
have happened
sure.
from traffic and from this and from this and from this, it's really not a big, it's mostly nature being super. It's like you have kids and it's like
Hmm.
you don't want to punish them and you're trying to get them to learn without having to punish them. And if I just hope they just do what I'm saying so I don't have to punish you. And it's like, and you just keep extending your patience and extending your patience. And it's sometimes,
Yeah.
you smack, you
Right.
shout, you send them, you take away the phone and send them to their room, and you're grounded. And that's
Okay.
um,
Okay. So let's try to answer Nicholas Christakis, right? Because I'm not sure we agree with. Do you agree with what he's saying? I mean, it's a very
that it'll
sober.
take till 2024.
No, no, that I'm talking about specifically that point where he was asked, there was this fantasy that due to COVID, people will change after this pandemic.
No,
We'll
bro,
we'll
bro.
treat
Here's
we'll
here's the
treat
here's the
nature
thing.
differently. Everything will be better. And
Okay,
he
here's here,
says it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna happen. If you ask me,
okay,
it's
okay.
just an opinion. Yeah.
I have some people that really love to hate on me in the comments section of some of my Facebook posts,
Right.
and they want, they think the right way is that, we should be good to each other and we should smile to each other and we should be, and I'm the most like hippie guy. I want to just like powwow, sit around, smoke the peace pipe, and just like everybody sing kumbaya until like, until the rainbow comes down on our heads, like
Hmm.
that would be great. Just sit on the beach and just like love our, okay, that's how I thought it was going to be. And then you like get into the world and you see, wait a minute, everyone is trying to like take your money, or everyone's trying to like get
Mhm.
over on you, or everything is kind of a scam, or the government is always doing, and then you realize,
Right.
oh, wait, I thought we could all just love each other. Like, can't we just all love each other? I don't get it. No, the nature of humanity is that everybody wants to exploit the other. And even if we're being nice to the other one, we're being nice to the other one because we think we're going to get something out of it because it works for us. So if we don't start with the truth, and I know the truth is bitter, but if we don't start with where we really are and who we really are, we're not going to be able, it's like, oh, it comes to my very good story, which you didn't like at the beginning. If you don't know what the diagnosis is, you don't know what the medicine is. You
Okay.
don't know what.
I found
Now do you like my story?
no. We'll get back to your story, but okay, let's just drill down on this just a little bit more. I found the exact quote. He says, the interviewer said, this is from Hebrew, so I'm not gonna. The interviewer said, in the beginning of the lockdowns, there was this fantasy created that we will learn a lesson, we will change, we will become better people. Will this happen?
It's-
So,
that
so,
sounded like me at 18 years old. Come on, can't we
that's
just
the
smoke this
interviewer.
and be friends?
So Christakis says, I'm afraid not. I really love people, human beings. I think that there's also um, so I think that even though there are many evil people, we are a wondrous species. We're capable of love. We're capable of friendship. We're capable of sharing and mutual sacrifice. We have amazing qualities. We teach and we learn from each other, something that other species don't do. He says that as as a social scientist, right? Um, but I don't think we'll change all of a sudden. There's going to be some political, economic, geopolitical ramifications, but in the end, people are people for better or for worse. So,
No, no.
complete,
People, here's
complete,
where he's wrong.
complete
People,
agreement. Okay,
people,
where is he wrong? Where is he wrong?
people. Okay, people are animals. Hopefully soon people will be people.
Now we
But
need to explain that. We need to explain that. That is not okay.
that's not going
Okay,
to work.
so it's not going to be clear. Let's clarify that. So
Okay.
okay, so you say, if I'm paraphrasing you, you're basically saying, yeah, I agree with Christakis that there is this gravity like nature in human beings, that even if we suffer the most, World War One, World War Two, so the same, COVID 1, COVID 2, COVID 3, whatever it is, that's not going to change human nature. But, but, does it do anything? What does it do? If nature, we just started the show saying that nature is intelligent. There's intelligence in nature that has to do with evolution, with evolving to our next state. Then what is the benefit of all these covids? What exactly nature is doing to us that pushes us forward to a better, more advanced state of evolution? And what is it? Where is the
Go back and
area?
watch the first 70 shows and you'll understand.
No, let's try to let's try to really in capture it. In a what is that latitude? What is that area where nature can't interfere with, yet it's trying to push us to work in? You know what I mean? Like how
Okay.
would you how
There's
would you define
enough.
that?
Okay. There is plenty of food on earth. There's plenty of money on earth. There's plenty of water. There's plenty of nice places to visit. There's plenty of everything. There's plenty of knowledge. There's plenty of shelters. There is everything we need. And yet, almost every single person is miserable. And almost every single person feels empty inside. Yet everything we need is here.
Okay. So So I'll try to take that another step forward. So COVID is coming to help us see that our current way of life is not working. You know, Christakis says 2024. The guy who came up with the vaccine says at least 10 years. He just said it 2 days ago. And that's the guy who came up with the vaccine. The There's some sort of an assistance that we are receiving from COVID, from nature, but it's only to the extent that it's only to help us reveal that there's what the problem is. The fixing of the problem, nature cannot do for us. Right? Would you agree with that? Does that make sense? And the problem is nature is showing us are that we've created a way of life that does not take into account us as a human family, us as connected beings, connected to each other, connected to the planet. We've created this way of life that only follows our built in nature, our built in egoistic drive. That is, at the end of the day, even though we're capable, like Christakis said beautifully, and I agree with him, we're capable of practicing other things. We're capable of feeling each other. We are a special species. We are capable of feeling the other as ourselves. We're capable of being kind even to each other, of doing things in groups. We have this social nature, but on the other hand, we also have this gravity like ego that ultimately, at the moment, is driving the show. So, COVID can help us see that, but it cannot fix that. How do we fix that? What needs to happen then? Because what's the point otherwise of COVID? Why do we need all these COVIDs? You know what I mean? Want to try to you don't want to try to answer this. I see you want to.
No, I don't know
wanna,
how to enter the question from without opening up 20 doors, which seems to be my new habit around here. Just like opening everything up.
I would just say, okay, then
Ask me the
I'll just
question in a
I'll
sharper
say
way.
one thing. I'll say one thing, and maybe you can expand on it, and we can also leave it at that and move on to another thing. Then maybe um, we have to see. This is how I would say it. Nature's helping us see that we are helpless when it comes to changing ourselves, and yet it is the one thing we need to do in order to create a better world. And I think that statement from Christakis is very sober. There's something I like that. There's something very real and mature in
So where's
that
it supposed to come from then?
nature itself. That's the one thing that we are not, haven't learned how to do yet.
So watch this. All of our scientists and everything, we're spending all of our time trying to figure out how to outsmart nature. What we should
Yes.
be doing is just revealing what nature's
How
already
nature
doing.
works and what it
Because
wants
nature's
from
powering
us.
stars, powering volcanoes. We're joking with what we
and
think we're
create
going to do.
and this COVID,
Creating life.
exactly, even if you think you believe that COVID was created in a lab, it's still under the guidelines and the rules and the laws of nature. And what's
So hold on,
happening with it now is also mutation by laws of nature. Nature is knows what to do for evolution to continue. We need to start paying attention to it. We've never learned nature. Here's the problem. We've never looked at nature as how can we mimic? How can we use what we see in nature as a guiding light, as education for us to build ourselves, our societies. We're only looking at nature in the sense of how can we exploit it? How can we use it? How can we manipulate it? How can we, you know, not be limited by its limitations, but not how, where does it want to take us?
So we should look at Mary Spy's question. Denise put it in the WhatsApp. Check that out. Maybe you can get to that in a second. Yehuda Barak asked, what does nature want? And so if we go back and we look, we talked about this previously, how Earth was formed between a war of plus and minus. And we look at how every atom, it's a war between plus and minus. Everything develops by a war of plus and minus when it goes from inanimate to vegetative to animate to the speaking degree. Every time it's a war between plus and minus. So here's our deal, Yehuda. Uh, Nature does a war between plus and minus, and then it finally, after epic battles, it resolves and a new degree is born. Okay, we talked about this also, how the baby eventually flips upside down and a new degree is born. So now there's a war again between plus and minus playing out, very, very big. And we're going to see it play out more and more between the Eastern Hemisphere, the Western, just everything between right and left, within countries, within families, within ourselves. War between these plus and minus, between us, constant confusion. The cool thing, the amazing thing, the purpose of the show, what we're doing here is that now we can do something that we could never, ever, ever do before. And that is be aware of the process. An atom isn't aware of the process. The planet Earth was not aware as it was going through this development. When a monkey became a human, he wasn't aware of the process that was happening. But now we are completely aware. And what that means is we can speed up consciously the war between the plus and the minus. We don't have to let it descend all the way into a full out nuclear war or all kind of other tragedies until we wake up. But instead, we can start inside of ourselves. What do we want to do with these plus and minuses together inside of ourselves?
Merge them.
Better word than merge.
Yeah, it's more than merge. They need to create the next level of evolution. They need to complement each other in a way that they don't cancel each other out, yet each one contributes its resistance to the other, so they create mutual power that is greater than both of them. They need to,
right, so without canceling them, and then from this we create light shines, literally, but an inner light, so to speak. And whenever you dart, I'm always watching your eyes to see if you're with me. When I said light and you like looked away, like maybe I missed it. I don't hear you. I don't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to at some points to look at the chat as well and see.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like, oh God, here he goes with that inner light again. The plus and that, so that is really our work now, right? Our work is not to run out into the street and build something, or run off to another planet and build something, although we can do all of these things as well. But the first action is to figure out how to deal with how to work with these forces, because then we'll fill all the planets. We can do anything we want.
I'm buying the Musk story. Tell me about it. What does Elon Musk want to do now? I know he wants to go to Mars.
He wants to be like a Joseph Stalin of Mars, I think.
What
he wants to create some. No, I'm kidding. I don't know the guy. We never met. I've just read a few articles about his plans to go to Mars. He wants to put 1 million people or so on Mars, I guess. I mean, talk about, a nice, healthy ego. This guy doesn't want to just rule like a country. He wants to like rule the planet, and the planet of war, to add, right? Isn't Mars the planet of war?
Is Mars the planet of war?
I think Mars was war, right? Wasn't it? Venus is love.
Venus is love, yeah.
War. Yeah,
I don't know, but okay. What's the new thing though? The plan to colonize Mars is.
You colonize Mars, and then he said that there's going to be no government, like no earthly so he decided, I guess, in his terms and conditions, the stuff you just scroll through it, and you're like, I accept. So the
Yeah.
terms and
Okay.
conditions for Mars is like no earthling has sovereignty, whatever, over Mars.
Okay.
And his idea, though, is that everything should be governed by a true democracy, meaning I don't know, maybe they put the chip inside of you, and anytime a decision needs to be made, you just get a zap, and you say, okay, decision needs to be made. You like blink twice if you want, right, and blink once if you want left, whatever. And every decision is made democratically. We should remember that Hitler was elected democratically. So just democracy is a very, very horrible type of government unless
Mm-hmm.
everybody is, again, heart and mind. If we develop our hearts and minds and we know how to bring the plus and minus together, great.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Let's
Wait, wait.
follow
Before you throw democracy completely to
under the
the
bus.
under the bus. So he wants. Let me just to get it straight. He says, of
According to what
course,
I
we're
read,
we're
according to what I
going
read,
to.
I don't know. He didn't tell
Okay,
me what he
so
wants.
what you understood is this, yeah? Of course, we're going to colonize Mars. That's in Elon's plan,
Yeah.
and when that happens, he says we need to make sure it's a democracy. Basically, that's what he says.
No, I think he said something like nobody should claim sovereignty over it, and any decisions that need to be made should be made by the majority, should be made by some kind of
Here,
okay,
Chris comes
here
to
we
our
go.
aid.
Thank you, Chris.
Elon Musk will run into trouble setting up a Martian government, lawyers say. Okay, so he's okay. Yeah, what's happening there?
Okay, here we
According,
go. Accordingly, disputes will be settled through self-governing principles established in good faith at the time of the Martian settlement, because of course anyone who's going to
mm,
go to Mars is going to be only thinking about the goodwill of
and
everyone else.
And I see something else there. Most likely, the form of government on Mars would be something of a direct democracy. This is something Musk said, yeah? Direct
Yeah.
democracy, where people vote directly on issues instead of going through representative government. Okay,
So
okay, okay, okay.
imagine if I for example am the guy who's responsible for getting people to Mars and setting up the information infrastructure, the 5G network
Yeah.
or whatever's on Mars, and I'm responsible for the media distribution
Mm-hmm.
on Mars. And so I decide, because I want to build the highway over there because my strip mall is going to be over there, and my competitor is building a strip mall over there. But
Right.
because I control the media on Mars, all I put out is, oh, the guy who wants to put a strip mall over there, he beats his wife. And the
Mm.
guy and the strip mall over here is actually very kid friendly, and everybody's loving. So of course, now please blink once if you want to vote for the strip mall, the road to go this way, and blink twice if you want the road to go that way, right? And then
Right.
you have the
And
chip
and
planted inside
Elon
of you.
Musk himself, as the person who colonized Mars, you want to tell me he's not gonna he's
I
he
don't know
now
what
ha
the
if
Elon's
he has
intentions are. I'm
plans.
not going to
No,
live on
but I'm
his
saying
side.
if he has plans to set up all kinds of things there, to
Forget
test
if
new
it's Elon or Schmelon
technologies.
or whoever. The point
But
is, whoever's going to control the media, going to control the story, right? You run into the same problem again.
okay,
If
so
we don't want the best for each other, anything we build is going to become corrupted.
the
That's
need
it.
to know says direct democracy. I like it. I gotta say, okay, when I just read it, I like that idea too. There's something, I think there is something uh, in the future. There's gonna be a way for us to use technology in a way that will help us get rid of obsolete mechanisms of governance that exist today. I'm sure that's in the future. I'm pretty sure that's in the future. I think that we'll be able to probably make more direct democracy, yeah, as they call it, more direct democracy, to be less dependent on intermediate steps where corruption can happen. But like the example you gave, I could say, okay, but who plans the gadgets, who plans the gadgetry and the technical, the communication devices that count the votes, who plan, there's a lot of complaints today about similar machines. They're basically, and this is why, this is where the problem lies, right? We're not gonna run away from building trust between each other, from building an actual positive, healthy, loving, dare I say, oh no, connection between human beings. It's just, what's gonna happen to Mars is, what will prevent it from, being inflicted and rife with conflict, drug abuse, depression, pollution,
Nothing. That's
war.
exactly what will happen on Mars.
It will just recreate the same thing, but with more advanced, starting from
So
scratch, with more advanced technology, and with masks on us or with spacesuits on us. This is the bottom line. And this, now we can close the go back full circle to COVID. This is also the thing with COVID. We can create another vaccine, and another mutation will come and will create another vaccine. And then we'll come up with different kinds of masks or whatever it is. We'll change our whole life, we'll run away from the big cities. Our economy will be completely virtual. But whatever happens, at the end of the day, we're just coping with what nature's throwing at us, trying to deal with the messengers of nature, but not reading the message. And only when we begin to see what is it that nature needs from humans, what is it that nature wants from humans, what does it do, what does it do with us that we can add, that we can contribute, that we can be a certain function in this natural system that will bring about balance to all levels of nature. When we start thinking in that direction, we'll find that it has to do with our positive relationships
the
with,
the
yeah,
the when you hear about musicians who are at the top of their game, or if you hear about athletes who are at the top of their game, there's
yeah,
something called the zone,
yeah,
which is
like a flow, like when you're in a flow, a state of flow, yeah.
when they reach that place where they're making the most incredible music, when they reach that place where they're breaking world records, doing, 5 flips in the air or whatever, tons of preparation, tons of getting up early, tons of study. But when it happens, nature takes over. You prepared yourself to be in that spot, but you're in the zone and you feel that it's happening, like you're there experiencing it, but it's happening kind of like on you. You're one with, like there was this hockey player. I remember I was really into ice hockey as a kid, Wayne Gretzky. Like the
Mm,
guy kind of
yeah, yeah.
knew where everyone was, like almost like that out of body experience. He just knew. He could just, he would just lay a pass off to someone, and it's like, how did he even know? It's like when you're in that zone, um, nature takes over. So what I'm saying there, first of all, is that greatness happens by when we prepare ourselves, right? It doesn't happen to somebody who didn't spend those thousands of hours working on it. But when you spend all that time studying what you're doing and understanding the mechanics of what you're doing, and then you let the nature operate the system, right? Now, Batzalel Ben Avram on Facebook asks a question. He says, you heard an interview with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk says all his plans are to benefit mankind. He's only thinking about benefiting mankind. Is that total ego, or is he connected to the light? So here's the thing. If we're not connected into the system, it doesn't matter how great you are. The whole gig here is that the true human is the interconnection between all of us. Each of us is a special quality, and when we are all connected correctly, then everything works. Then we're in the zone as humans. We have to do all of this. Oh, here's a nice one. We have to do all of this preparation. And then when we connect correctly, then we as humanity are like that musician or like that Wayne Gretzky. We're in the zone together. Then there's nothing against Elon Musk. Must be a great guy, genius guy, great ideas. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But if we don't get the heart and the mind right, if we don't do the proper preparation, it doesn't matter how genius you are. It's
And
gonna
and I would add that, first of all, yes, kudos to all of the technological innovation and all that, and I'm all for technology. I think that he did, and he is continuing and will bring great technology to the world. The problem is that, in my view, that um, I wouldn't say complete, but close to complete dependence on technology as something that will make the future better. Technology is something that, as we all know, first of all, it's a double edged sword. You can kill all of humanity very easily with technology, or you can provide for all of humanity, for all of the basic needs of all people. You can create amazing things. So, technology is not going to save anyone, and it's certainly not going to save us from ourselves. And the bigger the things you want to do, the bigger the potential that your technology has, the more advanced is the heart and mind that needs to be using that technology. Otherwise, you can end up with having like a monkey holding an atomic bomb, right? The issue is, and just think a little bit into the future. Black Mirror did a good job thinking about what can happen with technology, and how it has to do with human evolution. So there is a certain race here, in history that's happening between what how we are what we are developing outside of ourselves, the tools that we are using, and how are we developing internally the mind and heart that uses the tools that we're using. And so that is where we need to go in the 21st century, I would say.
just to
That
hold on one
is,
sec,
yes.
just to give that an emotional feeling. You know, social media, for example, like imagine getting up in the morning and being inspired and hearing about great things that are happening and giving you motivation to go out there and create a great world. But instead, we wake up and we go on social media and it's just a war zone. It's just a dumpster fire. It's just people hating on each other.
Yeah.
It's just, it's
And
fake.
the people right now who created or were leaders of all of those social media giants, Google, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, all of those, they're now saying, if you watch the Social Dilemma documentary, they're saying, you know what, we created a machine that creates destruction, addiction, social pollution, degeneration of society, all the way to even
So the
civil
premise
war.
of the
Yeah.
premise of this episode then is, it doesn't matter what we create, doesn't matter how great it is, doesn't matter what planet we go to, we got to get right on the level of the heart and the mind, because
And yes, and what nature can do is only push us to that realization with the help of COVID 1, COVID 2, COVID 3, whatever it will be. It only pushes us to realize, to recognize that we have to take a step in upgrading our minds and hearts. And I would add that we're going to need nature's help at the end of the day. It's funny. Did you see the let's talk about one more thing
okay.
that we thought we'll talk about. Okay, there's this revolution of there's this food revolution that's coming, right? There's cultured meat that is now being introduced into the
Cultured
market
meat, like
gradually.
pickled
Yeah,
meat. What do you
yeah.
mean cultured
No,
meat?
no, 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 no. Okay, so take a look at this. I have this article here. I had it ready in case we want to talk about it. So there is, for the first time a few days ago, this month, I think, in Singapore, there's this upscale restaurant that served lab grown meat. What it means is that they take cells. I'm simplifying the whole technological process here, which I'm no expert of, but essentially, this is meat without animals. They're taking just cells from chicken and they put them in bioreactors and they grow meat that you can eat. Now, this is, at the moment in some upscale restaurant in Singapore that is like the first to serve it. But gradually, this will become cheaper. At the moment, it's more costly than the real thing, but it's going to become cheaper. And of course, no harm done to animals in the process. This can be engineered to be healthier. It's already healthier, and again, cheaper, will be cheaper, as I said. And it's not just that. It's, they're figuring out right now how to make water from moisture in the air. There are these vertical farms that can grow, crops, vegetables without soil. There's seawater desalination technologies are hugely developing, especially here in Israel. What I'm trying to say is it's as though nature is letting us manipulate its limitations, defeat its limitations. Nature is allowing us with our technology to basically do what we need to do so we can give each other, so we can give ourselves everything we need and just focus on something. That's what I'm trying to say. The whole thing is, it just
So cool
goes
how
to
you
show.
how you segue between like lab meat and like the purpose of reality.
But I didn't know this, Dad. But that's because we are gradually, overcoming the limitations of nature here. So you can say it's like we're gonna run into a wall where the one thing that's left to do is overcoming ourselves. It's the one thing that
After
nature.
everybody has $1 billion from Bitcoin, and after everybody has their own meat machine in the kitchen, and
No,
after everyone has fresh water.
I'm not sure that everyone will have what they need. It may not happen that way. Where we might end up with a situation where in a few years from now you have potential abundance, but still you live in a society of scarcity. Let me translate what I just said. So you will be in a few years from now in a situation where it's easy and it's ridiculous that we are not doing it, but we can easily feed and clothe and house all people and give them medicine and use technology to calculate everyone's needs and just create heaven on earth. Okay, potentially, you have the potential to create abundance without it taking from anything from anyone. Okay, but at the same time, you live still in a society where today, for example, 50% of the food, up to 50% of the food produced globally is thrown to waste, is thrown to the garbage. You have half the world starving or suffering from malnutrition. You have children dying every few seconds. So we're coming to a point where the discrepancy between the potential abundance that we can have and the ability, the ease of doing that and providing that abundance to everyone is going to be in such stark conflict with the reality. And then we might see that the whole problem is us. We have to upgrade ourselves. We have to change. That's the one thing that nature can't do to us by itself. That's the one thing that evolution left as a free space for us to get into the zone, like you said, for us to just figure it out, that we have to start feeling each other as interconnected beings, that we have to feel the whole system as something that belongs to us, that the world is me, it's a part of me, that the humanity is my siblings. Every one of us has to start feeling that nature, all the layers of nature are different layers of us. It's a single reality, a change of consciousness. That's the one thing that we actually need to put all that potential into use. I
Seriously.
don't know, man. Um,
Oh, Mancini said we all live inside of Seth Brightman. Um,
so
listen,
he might know what song you got planned for us.
the chat has been on fire today. We have friends with us here from Nigeria, from Israel, Minnesota, Kerala, India, Florida, Utah, Quebec, Puerto Rico, Old Fort, North Carolina, Washington State, Cairo, Egypt,
Mm.
Brazil, New York, Netherlands, Maryland, Northern California, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Turkey, Nigeria, Nairobi, Kenya, Spain, England, Cyprus, Greece. Unbelievable.
Woo!
Everybody. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Ohio, P. Marlin in Ohio. All
Yes.
right.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you guys for bringing the fire. Bringing the fire. This show feels a lot like a campfire, you know? And everyone throws something. This is kind of what it starts to feel like. What's happening in the chat and this whole discussion and what's happening in the world. We're trying to light a fire in the middle of the darkness. But it's not also
That's
all that dark when you actually see
mostly.
what's happening.
Yetzi, we're gonna get to live music. We didn't forget about it. We have
Yes.
on Thursday, we have
Oh, yes.
a
Say a word about it.
2020. Okay, we have a 2020 summary. We're gonna bring back some of our favorite guests to talk about the media, to talk about psychology, to talk about the economy, talk
Yeah.
about what.
And Seth, say also that I'll say Thursday might be a longer show, so prepare your if you need. We
We're gonna
might
do
actually do an
one
hour
and
and
a
a
half
half
hours.
show.
Nice.
We might do 90 minutes, I think, because we're gonna have like 3 guests probably. We're gonna try to summarize this year, look into 2021. Yeah, yeah.
Very nice. Okay, everybody. Great to be together again on this Sunday. Love to everyone. Big hug. Be safe. Be
And
healthy. Connect. And
if you're watching this not on the Great Transition channel, come on, move to the Great Transition channel, subscribe to it, and then you'll be sure that you're getting everything that you can get from the Great Transition.
put the link up there so
The
everyone knows
link
where it
is
is.
up there right now, so you can go to bit.ly/the Great Transition, as you can see on the screen. Go there, subscribe to that channel, and then you'll be notified every time that we are live or post a video. What are we singing, Seth?
That's it. Lots of love, everybody. We'll see you soon. See you Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Face after face, race after race, from one cage to another. Mask after mask, task after task, lost in the sands.
Through you there's a cry, through you there's a light, a place to be discovered. Through you there's a way, together we pray to rise.
To see the face of love through your eyes. Together as one, and now we rise. And every word an echo from the skies, breaking the walls, hearts unite.
See a picture of me. Through you I find my flaws. Through there's a key, a place where we can open doors.
Together we yearn, the fire it burns, a chance to feel alive. A song from the heart, singing that love will cover our crime. To see the face of love through your eyes. Together as one, and now we rise.